Hi, I'm JJ Conway, and I help hardworking women and a few good men build financial confidence and take ownership of their financial future. I'm cheering you on with education on financial literacy, smart investments, and passive income streams. Welcome to Ladies of Wealth. All right, let's talk about unwanted gifts. What do you do when someone gives you a gift that you can't use? For example, I've been sober from alcohol since before I got saved. I got saved at 22 and I stopped drinking at 21. And I don't drink now as a reflection of my ministry. However, I still get people giving me gifts that are alcohol or they're alcohol themed. And when I say something about being a non-drinking preacher, it's always met with a smile and a wink. Of course, of course, of course. All, or somebody will say something. Well, all the preachers say they don't drink, but we all know they do. Or they'll be like, I know plenty of preachers who enjoy this in the privacy of their homes. The worst is when someone gives me like a shirt with wine glasses. Or one year somebody gave me pants, y'all. Somebody gave me pants that said all lit up with holiday lights, like the little blinky lights. And I thought it was cute. And then my son laughed at me. He's like, Mom, do you know what lit means? No, it didn't say all lit up. It said lit up. And he said, do you know what lit means? And I was like, it's the Christmas lights being lit, the little printed lights on the pants. He was like, it means drunk and high. Whoo. So you won't be seeing me in those pants, all right? But barring any sin, what do you do with gifts that you don't want? I thought this would be a great topic to bring up this year because all my gifts were amazing. Firstly, let me show you what my husband got me. And I thought about it when I was pulling this up. I was like, you know what? People are going to say that is not romantic, but it's romantic to me because it's something I've really been wanting and I haven't had a chance to save up for it. And he got me, let's see, can y'all see that? He got me some WeatherTech mats for my Mazda, my car that we bought me last year. And I love WeatherTech mats. I travel a lot and I get a lot of spills and they're so easy to clean and they keep from ruining the carpet that comes with your car so that, if you need to sell the car later, or if you just want to have it clean, these are very great. I love them. I love them. I love them. And so another gift I got, my second favorite gift, one of my minister friends bought these for everybody in our little group chat, our little lady minister group chat. There's a lunch crock pot. Now I have a small crock pot you've seen me use for fellowships that has like the dip in it. Like I put the cheese dip, the Rotel dip with the andouille sausage. But this is specifically a lunch warmer. You can put your soups and stuff in it, and you can have it ready for you when it's time to eat lunch. And especially with us about to go into our fast, it's really neat that, we'll be able to have something ready when it's time to fast. Let's see if I can get that lined up there. When it's time to fast. And I really love it. I was like, that is such a thoughtful gift that we can all use. And she bought it for all of us specifically for that purpose, that we'll have something to break our fast with at 4 o'clock and not have to run like I used to the Diet Dr. Pepper or the Diet Pepsi and the candy. Oh, we've got a comment here. Hey, Queen, let's see what we got here. I'm always afraid of giving what I thought was a great gift for some. I know. And you know what? We live in such a strange society now where we can't even talk about it. That's the worst part because did I tell you my story? Did I tell you my story about the white elephant gift exchange? I loved that gift that I brought. And that person badmouthed it and others jumped on the bad mouthing. And I was like, but I love that. I would love that. Anyway, I always get worried about that too. But then again, I find that you know what? I get along just fine without giving a whole lot of gifts. And so, but that's because of my personality issues, where a lot of times when I'm giving a gift, it's because I feel obligated to, or I'm giving a gift because I feel like if I don't, they won't like me. And I personally, I have had to learn to stop doing that because they're not going to like you anyway. Not you, me, not Queen, me. Thank you for commenting. I appreciate that you're here. All right. So this is my third favorite gift, which is a tie because this is tied with what I bought myself, which keeps flopping on this sweater. It worked fine on my other one, but my new mic set. I hope that y'all are hearing me with a much better quality than when I had before. I love my new mic set. We tested it out. You'll see that video soon. It's what I bought myself for Christmas this year. But this one is so special to me because this one was bought by my baby boy. He bought his mama a travel organizer in a really cool print in one of my favorite colors. And I just love it. I love it. I love it. And so that's you know what? I don't get a lot of gifts from my kiddos. I love that one. All right. So now, what if you that's part of why I thought we would talk about this issue today is because I didn't get any gifts I didn't want this year. you know, um I got great gifts. I mean, like, look at this little guy. It's so cute. You could travel with this. You could travel with this on the airplane for when you get into them hotels that don't have microwaves and stuff. A lot of people have a fridge, but they don't have a microwave. So, you have something you can heat things up with, and it's small. It's not big like other things. Back when Philip's father and I were first getting in the Air Force, when we would go TDY, we would bring a hot pot with us, one of those little I forget what you plug it in and it heats up the inside and you can cook inside it. And we would eat mac and cheese with hot dogs, and we would take back. This is I'll tell you how long ago it was. It was $36, $34 a pop was your per diem for that trip, for each trip every day. And we would eat macaroni and cheese. We would eat the canned spaghetti, and it'd be like $1 or $2 per person. And then we would put that other 34 for $35 into the bank. So, I thought it would be a great time to talk about because another year, if I wait, then I might get something I don't want, and then I wouldn't feel good talking about it. But this year, I love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. So nobody will think, who is she? Is she talking about me, right? So let's talk about if you get something you don't want, okay? One of the classic things to do with something that you don't want or that you can't use, and I do want to specify this, if you are a person who gives gifts and you get your feelings hurt because people don't seem to like your gifts, your love language might be gifts, but their love language may not be gifts. They might have a low need for affection and you might have a high need for affection. And we just have to understand that about ourselves. Ever since I took that class, it put a lot of things in perspective for me about me. And so this is why I'm saying, if you would like to walk through the fire OB, I would be more than happy to give you a nice listener stayed up late to be on the podcast recording with me discount to run the fire OB test for yourself, because it really opens up your eyes to things like that. Okay. But if someone gives me a gift, sometimes it's just not something I want. Sometimes, especially now I've got a good skincare regimen, but and but I break out easy if I have red dye or blue dye, and people used to always give me products, and those products would make my skin worse. And so then it felt bad because they were just trying to help, but they didn't understand the causes of the acne, and they didn't understand that my skin actually needed not to be dried out. It needed extra moisture, beauty sleep, and plenty of water, staying away from too many fried foods, and no red dye and no blue dye keeps my skin clear. And if you see any, well, you shouldn't today because I put makeup on I put foundation on before I did this. But if you see me without foundation on, you'll notice I have a couple of scars over here from when I had not done those things, and I ate red and I ate candy and I did those things, and I got some outbreaks. But sometimes people are just trying to help, and they're not trying to harm you. They're just genuinely trying to help. And so, or somebody might give you a baked good. They give you a baked good and it is absolutely delicious. But if you keep it in your house, if you keep it in your house, you're going to eat it all. And I don't know about you, but I can't burn off all those calories in the time I have to eat the wonderful, yummy baked good before it goes bad. So the biggest thing that I do, if it's something that's shareable,
if I receive a gift that I either don't like or I can't use or I can't keep in the house but for so long, that I will share it at work or send it to my husband's work. And that doesn't mean that I don't like it. It means that I don't need to eat all that pie. If y'all have never heard, we have a podcast for a long time ago called the $50 pie. And I wanted that. I mean, that pie was worth every penny. But nobody else in my family liked that kind of pie. So I couldn't keep it here because I was going to eat it all. And that was really rich. It was like 1,000 calories a slice. You only burn off of like 350 calories for a mile of walking. So that's a lot, you know. The next thing that you can do if you receive a gift that you either can't use or it doesn't fit, maybe it's not a good, it doesn't fit with your decor. Maybe somebody got you some decor and it doesn't fit with your decor. Maybe they got you, my mom got my son a racetrack and she's like, it's not too big, is it? And I was like, no, it's not too big, but we have to plan when we do it because it takes up the entire dining room space. It's the most amazing racetrack you ever saw, right? And so we're going to put it back out there when we take down the Christmas tree and all that stuff. But we have to plan it out because if you take the time to build that 7-foot thing with all the loop-de-loops and everything, you're not going to take it down that night. And it's big. So you have to make sure you're not planning on going back and forth and doing a lot of yard work or whatever. It needs walking back and forth, right? But if you get something that's too big, and I've gotten things that don't fit in the house, you can return it, or you can donate it. You can re-gift it. Sometimes you try to return something, but then you find out that the person who bought it for you bought it on an extreme sale, or they got it with a coupon, or they got it as a freebie for something else. So they got a gift for one person and they gave you the gift that came free with it because it was a nice gift. Sometimes I get something, I go to return it, and it's like you get $3 or $4, right? So instead of just taking $3 or $4 for something that's clearly worth $20 or $30 normally, I will actually either regift that item or I will donate it. I love donating new stuff. I get frustrated sometimes when I order something on Amazon and I wait too late to see if it is going to work, so then I can't return it. They're very generous with their holiday, but I think regular, it's like you got 2 weeks or something like that you can see if it works. And I'm a pre-order person. Like when I'm thinking about the conference, I buy the stuff I need, and then I get to it when I get to it, but at least it's there and I haven't thought about it and forgot to order it, right? So sometimes I get something and by the time I open it, it's not really what I need. Or by the time I try to put everything together, it's not what I need. I donate those things. I always think in my mind, there was somebody who needs it and they weren't going to get it unless it found its way into my hands. And now I'm going to go pass it on. And having been the kid who used to go shop for clothes in the airman's attic, which is where people give away stuff for the young airmen. When I was growing up, I would go shop for clothes in the airman's attic, or got a lot of hand-me-down clothes from my mom's friends and her cousin. If I can give something that's brand new to the airman's attic, or if I give something that's brand new to the rescue mission, one time I donated a whole box of Barbie dolls, brand new Barbie dolls. Like some of those kids, they're not going to get anything new all year. And I don't know if you've ever been in a place where people are processing donations, but a lot of times people donate junk. They donate broken junk or ripped up junk or holy junk that you can't even use. And I find myself like whenever we do a thing through our ministry where we're taking donations, I cull through so much nasty, raggedy junk, and I'm like, I am thankful that the rescue mission will take your nasty, raggedy junk, because whatever they can't sell or use, whatever they can't sell in their store or use for their people that they serve, they will take it and package it and ship it off to China, and it'll be turned into rags, and they'll get a couple dollars for it. So they use everything. That's one of the things that I love about the Shreveport Bossier Rescue Mission. And literally, when I have stuff like that and I don't have a place to donate it, I will save it. And next time I'm out in Louisiana, I will drop off the donations at the rescue mission, because I haven't found a place here that does that. But you can return some things, and I want you to not feel bad about it. I want you to not feel bad about it. I'll explain that why later. And this is one that people feel better about donation, donations, but don't feel bad about regifting. A lot of times nowadays, gifts are bought and given and exchanged and received well before Christmas Day, and you can easily take it to some place and donate it, or you can regift it, and it will get into the hands of someone who will appreciate it for Christmas. Now, if you can't regift it before Christmas and you have to put it away somewhere for the next time, make sure you put a sticky with the person's name on it, okay? Or because you don't want to offend them by regifting. But I was doing research for this. I actually did an internet poll. There were a lot of stories where people were like, I used the gift in front of the person who gave it to me, and they complimented me on it, and they didn't even realize they were the ones who bought it for me. So I think we're more worried about them being offended or understanding than they actually are. Okay. And again, I love to donate stuff. We have a donate section in the garage. It's a table with two boxes on it, and it fills up fairly quickly. I don't know why, but I like to buy things, and then I like to donate things. And we have a rule, like when my kids' birthdays come, or when Christmas comes, they cull through and find out what anything in their toy boxes that they can give to a kid whose parents don't have money. That's how we usually phrase it. We're going to give these to a kid whose parents don't have money to buy nice toys like this, and we make room for the new stuff. That's just something we've always done. I love donating things, and a lot of people online, the number one thing was to sell or regift it or exchange it, right? And the number two thing was to donate it. I was surprised at how many people put sell, but we'll talk about that again in a few minutes. But one thing I don't, wait, let me make sure I finish that thought. I love to donate things. A lot of people online like to donate things that they can't use anymore. And it's interesting because you almost got the sense of people like, well, if I'm donating it, it's probably not going to somebody in my circle. But I used to donate stuff even when I was $800,000 in debt. And I knew there were people in my circle that shopped at the Salvation Army or the Goodwill or the base thrift store or anything like that, Uh, so you do want to be a little careful about that if you think that people care, but you'll find out in a few minutes that people don't really care, you know. But one thing I don't do with gifts, I don't keep gifts around out of obligation. I feel like obligation is a horrible, horrible feeling for reasons to do something. Now, I don't say don't honor your mother or father, because the Bible says honor thy mother and father, and if you do so, it'll give you long life. And I think that we as children have an obligation. We don't necessarily have to have them move into our house, but if they can't take care of themselves anymore, we have an obligation to make sure that they're taken care of, right? Like that's part of the cycle of life. So I'm not saying all obligation is a bad thing. Some obligations are a good thing. I'm paying for Philip's college. He has an obligation to do his best. Okay? But when it comes to gift giving, party hosting, a lot of things that we do out of obligation, we know that we shouldn't do it. We know that it's not good for our pocketbook. We know that it's taking resources from our future. We know that we're actually probably forwarding somebody's ministry or business that we ought not be forwarding or helping. We know this deep down inside, but we don't want to admit it with our intellect, and we don't want to say those words to ourselves. And so we feel like, well, we feel obligated, or we use the phrase, I'm loyal to a fault. I have heard people tell me that they're so loyal to a fault, they will run up their credit cards, taking care of their nieces and nephews. And I'm like, well, why doesn't your brother do it? Why doesn't your sister do it? Oh, well, I'm the one that made it. I have an obligation. Now, do I believe that I have a responsibility to help people who are less fortunate? I absolutely believe that I have a responsibility, but responsibility is not the same out of obligation. The responsibility is not the same as obligation. I want to say that again. Responsibility is not the same as obligation. I have a responsibility to help those less fortunate than me. But that doesn't mean I have an obligation to give them money that I earned when they were sitting around watching TV. I don't have an obligation to give them money and cash that I earned while they were drinking and partying all weekend. I don't have an obligation to let them cheat on my off of my good test because they know I get straight A's when they were out drinking and whining and dining women all weekend. I don't have an obligation. Now, I have a because I'm a child of God, I have a responsibility to help. But a lot of the things that we do out of obligation, they are not helping people. And if it's not helping people, and it's making us feel bad, then it's time for us to let go of the negativity. So I did an internet poll on this on a website called Reddit. If you haven't heard of it before, it's a forum, basically a collection of forums. And so I've gotten down some pretty negative rabbit holes on Reddit. So I'm not necessarily recommending the site per se, but I'm saying that if you are on there, find me and connect. Or I know that a lot of people on Reddit, they like to be anonymous. So you can just send me an anonymous Reddit PM with your favorite groups and the favorite things that you like to read while you're on there so I can fill my feed with interesting things. I was really kind of hoping that I could find more of these like little cutesy cat memes and fun. What I really like to use it for so far is I've used it to find interesting gym fail videos to send my oldest who's away for college. So it's an interesting site, and you know it's a little rough in places, but I have been enjoying it. So if you see something that you think I might like and you're on Reddit, PM me. And if you don't mind telling me who you are, you can, but you don't have to. You can friend people and you don't even know who they are. You follow them, I guess. I don't remember. But anyway, went ahead and put a poll out there, and the results of the poll was really interesting to me. Now, I did see one message where somebody was complaining about they gave their mom a gift and she gave it to Goodwill. And she never told the child until the child asked to borrow it later. Now that's the only thing I can think of about asking for a gift. Like one time I gave my mom a book by the lady who wrote Little House on the Prairie. And because I read the Little House on the Prairie series so much out of my mom's library, I thought she loved that author. Well, she didn't. And I did. And when I bought her the book, there were plenty of them. So I was going to go back and get one. Well, by the time I went back to get myself one, that bookstore had closed down. I couldn't find it. And I wanted to get the ISBN because I could not find this book. I couldn't find it on Amazon. I couldn't find it on Barnes and Nobles. People would search for it for me. It was like the book just disappeared. And that's really strange because books, you know, you can at least find them at a used bookstore, or you get one of those old bookstores and know how to find, they know how to track books down, y'all. So I wanted the ISBN so I could help me find it. Well, she'd given it away or she donated it or something. And I was bummed because you can't find that book anymore. But it was my fault for not buying myself a copy, you know? And you know, I was broke and the book was a splurge and they had plenty of books. And I thought I could always come back later, you know. But I wasn't mad at her for throwing it out. It wasn't her style. And both of us live in small houses. So you don't have but so much room. When I give you a gift, it's yours. If you want it, great. That's the best. If you don't want it, I might like to know so I don't get that kind of thing for you again. But honestly, if I don't see you mention it, I mean, if I don't see you display it or I don't hear you mention it or talk about how lovely it is or how much you enjoyed it, then I pretty much know it wasn't your cup of tea, right? Well, then this poll that I did, the consensus was that if the item was store bought, most people weren't going to remember what they got you anyway because it's such a gift frenzy at Christmas time. So re-gift or donate it. A surprising amount of people actually throw the gifts out. Like, why would you throw it out? Like at the very least, donate it. Now I live in a small Texas town, so I could understand if maybe you don't want to donate it here because you don't want whoever found it to somehow see it somewhere else. You know, whoever gave it to you to see it somewhere else. I can kind of get that, but you could donate to the next town. You could drive to the next town and donate it in the next town. Uh, you know, I throw it out? Really? Now, if it was really sinful, then yeah, I would throw it out too. But I mean, just throw stuff out. A lot of people, this surprised me. A lot of people sell the gifts they can't use and can't exchange. Okay. So if they can't use it, they can't exchange it. Rather than donate, they're going to sell it and try to make some money off of it. And if they can't sell it, then they might donate it. I like the way one Redditor put it. This was not in response to my poll, but this was just me looking to see what other people did. I have dealt with this exact wait, let me make sure I got it. Let me make sure I got it. I have dealt with this exact issue. Uh-oh, where'd it go? Come on back. I have dealt with this exact issue for decades. I have suggested name picks, told people ahead of time that I don't really want gifts. And mentioned that I prefer consumables, chocolate, wine, cheese, if gifts are coming. I don't want wine, please. But that's what this person wrote. If gifts are coming, nonetheless, I have always accepted gifts graciously and simultaneously wondering if they even know anything about me. I cut and paste too much of this. Oops. If they even know anything about me because the gift is so off track. This is what I meant to read. I now have a different perspective. I think it's poor etiquette to saddle me with numerous gifts I don't want and won't use. Wow. Oh my goodness. You know what? If you stop and reframe it and you think about, why is the person who's giving me this gift giving me this gift? Now, if you've never seen it, I have a video out there about my dad's laptop bag that I took from his house because when he passed away, because my laptop bag broke. And when I made that video, as I was processing my emotions about not using this bag anymore because it was big, it was unwieldy, it just didn't work right with the layout and stuff, I got to a point where I was like, my dad never actually used this bag. Maybe he didn't use this bag because it was big and unwieldy and the things didn't lay out right. A lot of times people give you a gift. They give you a gift that, like it was from their house. Like sometimes people are cleaning out their house. And I hear this a lot from older ladies that like at Bible study or at the gym or something, like they're trying to give their parents are trying to give them things. Like their mom is cleaning out their house and they're trying to give them all their stuff and they don't want their mom's old stuff or they don't want their dad's old stuff. And so sometimes people are giving you a gift not for any reason that has anything to do with you enjoying it, but they're giving you a gift for their own personal reasons. And that doesn't give you an obligation to have to keep it there. And here's a funny thing. So many posts that I looked at, everyone seemed to be worried that the gift giver was going to be looking to see if they use it. And I was reading this and I'm like, well, of course they do. Because like if I go to somebody's house, I look to see if they're using the thing that I got them, not from a control freak perspective, because I kind of stink at giving gifts, but I want to know if you liked it. And honestly, these days I tend to give consumable gifts anyway. So you're not, it's not going to be out there on the kitchen counter or on your dining room table displayed for me to see it. But most people, most people who donate or give away gifts, they're like, no one has ever asked me. People don't even remember. People don't even really remember what they got. Now, if something was handmade, I did like how people say if something was handmade and it's clearly very special, then they ask the gift giver if they would like it back and they apologize and say this is beautiful. I appreciate the effort, but this is not something that I will be able to use. And that's a great way to handle something that's precious like that. But I would also caution you to be careful because I've never been a big fan of crocheted blankets, the kind that have all the holes in them. I have never been a big fan of those. But we have a family member who who made them for my boys when they were born or when they were young. And I didn't think we were ever going to use it. Both of my boys love those kinds of blankets. They love the tactile and textile feel of putting their hands in the holes and stuff. I've never liked those because I like the big, thick futon, snugly warm blankies. But both of my boys loved those. And so sometimes you get a gift that you think isn't going to work, but I encourage you to give it a try before you cast judgment. All right, well, there you have it. That's if you receive a gift that you can't use, maybe it doesn't fit in your house, maybe it's not a fit in your lifestyle, maybe it's super yummy, but you just don't want to eat all those calories by yourself. Share it, go ahead and return it, sell it, donate it in some other way. You can pass it along, re-gift it. You will make the world a better place by getting that item into the hands of someone who will actually use it.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and ask your question at ladiesofwealth.com.